Let's go to the Rude Guest Hotline. Rude, the most reliable heating and air conditioning products in the DMV, and our guy, the outstanding Kevin Burkhardt, will be on the call with Tom Brady, Aaron Andrews, Tom Rinaldi on Fox of Commanders Giants in the 1 o'clock window this Sunday. Joins us now. KB, I'm old enough to remember when a Week 1 A-team being at Northwest Stadium would have been pretty shocking, but you guys might as well, get a locker or something, leave some things at the stadium. You might be there a little bit.
Hey, you know what? First of all, good to be back with you guys. Second of all, that highlight you played, those are the best throws I saw all year. That was like dropped from the heavens to De'Ami Brown's, numbers. Second of all, look, it's great. I mean, for me, an old school NFC East matchup. I mean, that's what I grew up on in the Northeast. I love it so much. So to be back there and have Washington, kind of back on top, back in the championship game. Hopefully the Giants will be better. They've made a lot of good offseason moves. I just love the whole vibe of it.
What is, as you're prepping for this thing? I mean, the Giants there's some desperation there, certainly maybe from the front office, the coach, maybe, fighting for his job, and Russell Wilson and company with some pretty stout players on defense. And then look at Washington with all the expectations from last year. Just kind of give me your big picture thoughts on this one.
Well, I love what Washington did. I mean, obviously it's going to be a little different, right? I mean, they kind of surprised some people. I mean, what they did in the offseason when they overhauled, the staff and obviously with the new ownership going a little bit further back than that, they tried to get back to respectability, and the respectability jumped 8 wins in a year. And I don't even know if they had that in mind in their wildest dreams, but it was, they have so many great things in place. And then I love that Adam Peters went out and said, all right, well, we got the amazing stud star quarterback now. What's ahead? I think they're an older team, veteran team on purpose because they tried to change the culture and everything that had been going on there. And then they won. So the fact that they go out and add big pieces like Deebo Samuel and Laramie Tunsil, I mean, I love it. I mean, I think this is no shocking revelation, fellas, but I mean, Jayden Daniels is a star. He's got everything you want, everything imaginable that you want. In terms of a quarterback with a head on his shoulders. He's smart, he's accurate, obviously he's athletic. And then they've surrounded him with a bunch of really good pieces. The biggest thing, among other things, is how do they handle success, right? They kind of came at you as the big underdog last year, and then teams didn't even know what hit them. Well, now they've had an off-season to look at it. So how are they going to react to that? That's going to be one of the real fun questions the first month of the year.
The great Kevin Burkhardt of Fox with us on Grant and Danny. He'll be calling Commanders Giants at 1 o'clock this Sunday. An actual game week here on The Fan. We're fired up about it. I saw that Jackson Dart was named the QB2 for the Giants on their depth chart. So on your play-by-play board, he's going to be right behind Russell Wilson, which surprises me a little bit, although he had a great preseason. What's your take on the QB situation there with Russell Wilson coming over from Pittsburgh, and as well as Dart played in the preseason, how close he might be to seeing playing time?
I think the Giants feel like they have the quarterback of the future. That being said, I think they're really happy with Russell Wilson right now. I think they needed some stability there. Obviously they hadn't won in the last couple of years at all. And they've had, the offense has been a mess, and trying to figure out the quarterback situation is a big reason why, right? But I think Russell Wilson gives them a real leader in the room, a professional, a guy who's going to get rid of the ball, on time and make the offensive line look a little better. And, I know for the coaching staff has really been impressed by his example. And look, Russell Wilson's on a 1-year deal. He wants to win. And I don't think it's the worst thing in the world for a quarterback to sit. Now, look, Jayden Daniels came in and did something that, is not done all the time. In fact, he did most things that weren't done ever. And I know we're in the culture of rookie quarterbacks play basically because they have to and people's jobs are on the line. But I think the Giants really love Jackson Dart. That being said, I think in the same sentence, I think it's fine if he sits and not only learns and matures and things like that, but gives Russell Wilson a chance to see if they can be competitive and win some games and at least be in some games. So I think it's a good situation. I really do. I think you've got a veteran quarterback who's positive personality, great leader, and is a good player still, even though he's not the same guy he was 10 years ago. And then you've got the guy who you hope is the guy to lead your franchise, and you don't have to rush him in right now. Like, let him absorb a little bit, whether it's 2 months or for the full year, and get even better. That's the way I see it. There's positivity there. Now they got to go win games.
So for this Giants team, Kevin, this is one of my, entering the season sort of sneaky theories is they're not going to be that bad. I don't think they're ready to, be a playoff team and win a bunch of games and, go make some noise, but they lost a number of one-score games last year in semi-fluky fashion. They were non-competitive than some others, but I think you look at that defense, you look at, some stability at quarterback. You mentioned with Russell Wilson. I think they're going to be a pain in the butt for some people, and there are pain in the butt this week for Washington. Kind of give me your thoughts on the Giants season.
Yeah, Danny, I think, look, I think for them, they won a wild card game in 2022, and Daniel Jones played the game of his life. And ironically, it might have been one of the toughest things that happened in the organization because then they had to pay him coming off that performance, and they let Saquon go, and it triggered all these other things. And then Daniel Jones was hurt a bunch in the 2 years, and so it sent the franchise kind of backwards. So this is the reset, right? This is the reset where they feel better about where they are, and I think really they have Washington to look up to in the sense, like, that's the team to me that they're trying to emulate because, I mean, the Commanders had 4 wins 2 years ago, right? Or whatever it was. And they jump up into the NFC Championship game by drafting a star quarterback and bringing in really good veteran players who can lead. And I think the Giants tried to do that, even if Jackson Dart doesn't play right away. With Russell, and on defense, they bring in Javon Holland from Miami and Paulson and Debo, like good players, good veteran players who have played a lot in this league and who are respected. I think their defensive line is fantastic. The problem is they're never ahead to rush the quarterback. So if they find a way to be in games in the fourth quarter or even have a lead, I think that's going to be a big problem for other teams. So I'm with you. I think you have the exact right read. I think, look, every team wants to win the Super Bowl. But I think for them, behind closed doors, they tell you, hey, if we make a big jump and at least position ourselves for next year to be a real threat, I think they would sign up for that all day.
Kevin Burkhardt of Fox with us here on Grant and Danny. He will be on the broadcast of Washington and New York from Northwest Stadium this weekend. He is their play-by-play with Tom Brady. KB, how about the rest of the conference at the top with Philly as still the shortest odds to win the conference? The Packers just added Micah Parsons. That was one of the quietest 11-win seasons ever last year. Do they have enough to overtake Detroit, who's become a perennial power? The Bucs are a favorite in the South again. How do you see the conference that kind of you guys will be covering in the playoffs that goes through the NFC on Fox here? How do you see it?
Yeah, Grant, I think the conference is really good, top to bottom. That's number one. I would say that the Eagles, until proven otherwise, are still the best team, but their schedule is very difficult. And I just think from a win regression standpoint, I think they and Washington could come back a win or two just because the schedule is so much harder. But I think from a roster construction, from a Super Bowl defending champ, they're still the team to beat in my eyes. You look at the rest of the conference, I think the Rams have an argument to be the best team in the NFC. I think they are absolutely loaded. They did it with a young defense last year, learning on the fly with the retirement of Aaron Donald, and they were great. They're only going to get better. The only big question is the health of Matthew Stafford. Can his back hold up for a year? If he does, I think the Rams are fantastic. The Niners, it's an interesting year for them because all this transition, all of these veterans, one of them in Debo going to Washington, and they had to change it up. But they kept, for the most part, their stars intact, and they have a lot of young guys for the first time ever in Kyle Shanahan's tenure. They have the easiest schedule in the NFL. I could see if they stay healthy, if Christian McCaffrey stays healthy, they still play Niners football. I could see them finding 10 wins just through their schedule and who they play. And then you've got the North, which is so loaded and so good. I think the Micah trade for Green Bay was obviously great. Their D was really good last year and got better as the year went on with Jeff Hafley. But I don't know that I'm ready to crown them as the champs of the NFC North just yet. I think if J.J. McCarthy is any good, and I mean any good, I think Minnesota's roster is stacked. And then we have Detroit, which I kind of feel like Detroit's the same boat as Philly and Washington, where I think they're still going to be excellent, but just because the conference is tougher and they lost both coordinators, would it shock me if Detroit comes back to, a 10-11 win team instead of a 14-win team? No, it wouldn't, but I still think they're going to be really, really good. So I think the NFC North is congested. I think Philly's still the best with the Rams right there, and I could see Washington and San Francisco making some major noise. If that's a way to sum it up. I know it's a long answer, but there you go.
No, it was perfect, succinct. We loved it. This will be year 2 with you and Tom Brady. You're next to this handsome gentleman and nobody pays attention to. I just, I feel bad. It's like you got to sit next to Tom Brady. What did he ever do in the NFL? What'd you think? I mean, getting to work with him last year, and just as he came on as the year went on and got better and better at it. How are you guys kind of coming into year two philosophically here?
I think we all feel great about it. Last year was really a lot of fun, and I was really proud of what we did. I mean, it's hard to be an analyst in the NFL, and with all the all the attention and things that were going to be on our group and Tom, and people were going to take shots at him no matter what, fair, unfair, whatever. That's part of the deal. But I thought that he was outstanding, and I thought we got better and better and better as the year went on, and that's really what you're trying to do, right? I'll say this among other things. He's just an unbelievable teammate. No shock for a guy that won more than anybody else, but he's an amazing teammate. Treats everyone like they're kings, and is just so great to be around. Such a good guy, and I think one of the most fun things for me, besides just getting to know him and become friends with him, is he's just a football nerd. He loves the sport. I mean, we're in the press box, and obviously it's a place he's never been before. And, someone makes a big play, and he's like punching me in the arm and like jumping up and down. He's so excited, like watching the game. He's like watching the game, guys, like we would watch the game, And I think to me, like, to be the greatest player ever and to have that enthusiasm, and you probably heard it in some of the broadcasts, like, I think that was just so damn cool, like for him to be that way. So it was awesome, and we're really, really excited for year two.
Love having you, buddy. Really appreciate it. Enjoy this weekend. Have a great call. Mix in a few like Washington touchdown calls, if you don't mind. That'd be a lot of fun to beat the Giants in week one for us.
Yeah, we could get a few of those. And I have a feeling we'll see a few. Always good to be back with you guys, man. Enjoyed it as always.
It's football
Appreciate
season.
You, buddy.
Needed to talk to Kevin Burkhardt to get it started. There he is. KB will be on the call. Commanders, Giants this weekend for Fox.